say tongues are languages. And that's a good answer, but it's not the complete answer. Okay, there are many languages. And let's go to the root of it. Because where did this come from, the Bible? What did it come from? It came from the Israelites, from Hebrews, from Moshe. He wrote the first 5 books. Okay, so what language did he speak? He spoke Hebrew. So let's forget Greek and Latin right now. Let's think about the word coming to Israel, because salvation is of Israel. Okay, tongues, the Hebrew tongue. Forget the other tongues. But we'll realize this, that tongues is a spiritual language when they're given as a gift through the set apart spirit of Yah. And that's promised by Yehoshua. Let's go on. I want to read Matthew chapter 3, verse 16 through 17, when Yehoshua was immersed by Yachanan the Baptist. And that, I used to say John the Baptist, but it's Yachanan the immerser. Okay, I'm going to read 16 to 17. That's out of chapter 3. And having been immersed, Yehoshua went up immediately from the water. And see, the heavens were opened, and he saw the Spirit of Yah descending like a dove and coming upon him. 17. And see a voice out of heaven saying, This is my Son, the beloved, in whom I did delight. So he's saying he is well pleased. Okay, now I want to turn the pages and go to the book of Mark, chapter 16, and I'm going to read verses 15, start at 15 through 17. And this is Yehoshua talking. And he said to them, Go into all the world and proclaim the good news to every creature. This news that Yehoshua taught his disciples. 16. He who has believed and has been immersed shall be saved, but he who has not believed shall be condemned. 17. And these signs shall accompany the ones who believe. In my name they shall cast out demons. They shall speak with renewed tongues. We're going to go in what tongues really are. And, okay, let's go to the book of Acts, chapter 1. And I want to read 1 through 11. The first account I made, O Theophilus, of all that Yehoshua began, both to do and to teach, until the day, pick this up, until the day he was taken up after giving instructions through the set-apart spirit to the emissaries whom he had chosen. So when Yehoshua was speaking to the people, he was speaking through the set-apart spirit. That's awesome. No man can speak that back then. That's how come Yehoshua had to come. Well, you know, they had the prophets that spoke it. Okay. And let me read 1 through 11. 3. To whom he also presented himself alive after his suffering by many infallible proofs, being seen by them for 40 days, speaking concerning the reign of Yah. And meeting with them, he commanded them not to leave Jerusalem, but to wait for the promise of the Father, which you have learned from me. Because Yachanan truly immersed in water, but you shall be immersed in the set-apart spirit, not many days from now. Okay. So when they had come together, they asked him, saying, Master, would you at this time restore the reign of Israel? And he said to them, It is not for you to know the times and the season which the Father has put in my own authority, but you shall receive power when the set-apart spirit has come upon you, and you shall be my witnesses in Jerusalem and in all Judah, and Shemaron, and to the end of the earth. And having said this, while they were looking on, he was taken up, and a cloud hid him from their sight. Okay, let me keep on reading. And as they gazing into the heavens and went up, see, 2 men stood by them dressed in white. And verse 11, who also said, Men of Galilee, why do you stand looking up into heaven? This same Yehoshua who was taken up from you into the heaven shall come in the same way as you saw him go into heaven. All right. I read that. And I was supposed to read that. Okay, let me read. Okay. I read a little bit too much there, but I wanted to make a point. And the point I wanted to make was in 4, that he told those disciples, and meeting them, he commanded them not to leave Jerusalem, but to wait for the promise of the Father, which you have heard from me. So they're supposed to wait in Jerusalem for that promise, and that promise is his set-apart spirit. Okay? Now, in 8, but you shall receive power when the set-apart spirit has come upon you, and you shall be my witness in Jerusalem and in all Yehuda and Shomron and to the end of the earth. That's the point I wanted to make. He told them to wait on that spirit, on that set-apart spirit. And I'm going to start reading in Acts, again, chapter 2. And this is when, this is at Pentecost, when they were waiting that next day, or the other day. And when the day of the festival of weeks had come, they were all with one mind and in one place. And suddenly there came a sound from heaven, and as a rushing mighty wind, it filled all the house where they were sitting. And there appeared to them divided tongues as of fire, settling on each one of them. And they were all filled with the set-apart spirit, and begun to speak with other tongues as the Spirit gave them to speak. Now in Jerusalem there were dwelling Yehudim, dedicated men from every nation under the heavens. And when this sound came to be, the crowd came together and were confused, because everyone heard them speak in his own language. They were speaking in all them languages those people were born in the provinces where they came from. Excuse me. And when this sound came to be, the crowd came together and were confused, because everyone heard them speak in his own language. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying to each other, Look, are not all these who speak Galileans? And who do we wear each one in our own language? Excuse me. And how do we hear each one in our own language in which we were born? Wow, that's amazing. Let me read 13. Verse 13. Cretan and Arabs, we hear them speaking in our own tongues the great deeds of Yah. So when they were speaking in those languages, which the Spirit gave them, the set-apart Spirit gave them utterance, they were speaking in their languages, but they were speaking something that Yah had given them. See, because, and I'll explain that later, because when you're speaking in tongues, you're not speaking for man to understand. You're speaking, may not understand. You're speaking to Yah, unless you can interpret. But they all received the Spirit, and they were in agreement. And when they got to speaking in those tongues, they were speaking of greatness and deeds of Yah. So I want to go on to the 1 Corinthians. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 12. Now I'm going to check out 1 through 14. And concerning spiritual gifts, brothers, I do not wish you to be ignorant. You know that you were Gentiles, led away to the dumb idols, even as you might be led. So, he's wanting to explain spirits. So therefore I make known to you that no one speaking by the Spirit of Yah, his set-apart Spirit, says Yehoshua is accursed, and no one is able to say that Yehoshua is master except by the set-apart Spirit. Okay. And there are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit. There are different kinds of services, but the same Master. And there are different kinds of workings, but in the same Yah, and that's power, who is working in all. And to each one is given the manifestation of the Spirit for profiting. For one is given a word of wisdom through the Spirit, and another the word of knowledge according to the same Spirit.